For the news review segment, where we get to have conversations regarding some of the topical issues dominating the media space. Today, though, later today, the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is set for a media encounter, is scheduled for 8 p.m. Today. Hopefully, some relevant questions are brought forth to generate some answers regarding the government's resetting agenda and, of course, some pertinent issues. But here in the studio, we have some relevant guests as well, and we'll be putting some questions to them regarding some of the topical issues to bring different perspectives to the matters at hand. I have in studio Michael Kosidede. He is an engineer and a regular panelist on the show. Engineer, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you.
Good morning to your viewers.
Yeah, Alhaji Bashiru Ibrahim is a former deputy CEO, Youth Employment Agency, and he's been generous enough to join us this morning. Alhaji, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Anna.
It's good to have you.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Very well, very well, very well. So we have a number of topics to deal with. Hopefully we're able to make judicious use of our time. So let's get straight into it. Alhaji, Engineer, I'll start with you. This issue of fire outbreaks. Yesterday there was another one, Latebiokoshi, about 10 houses engulfed in fire. Could it be poor planning, slow response? What could be a major challenge? Because we keep recording some of these fires, and how do we deal with same?
I have very sketchy details, but for the fact that the fighting of the fire has taken over 4 or 5 hours, because it started sometime before about 5 o'clock, because I live in Kolebu.
Okay.
So I got wind of the fact that there was a fire outbreak. And as at 12 midnight thereabout, the fire was still raging. So it tells you that the ability of the firefighters to deal with the fire was quite challenging. And I understand from the information I have that there were a lot of plastics or something stored in the place. So the worry is that, again, when we talk about zoning and planning, for me, the question is, where are industries supposed to be located? Where are residential facilities supposed to be? And things like that. So in terms of the larger question of planning and allocation of spaces within our cities, this is why things are done that way. So that if it is an industry or it's a company, it should be cited quite separately from where residential facilities are. But we have not done very well with that, with that spatial planning and management, because we keep changing zoning laws. And you realize that in a lot of places in Accra, we talk about mixed development. And I don't think that is proper. We need to look at those things very carefully. Because when you plan those things properly, it goes into dealing with issues such as this risk, fire. Again, on that premises, if there was plastic stored there, for what purposes? Was it a company? And did they have other chemicals in-house, in storage? Who gave them the permit to store those things there? Did they have a fire permit from the fire service? Issues like that. Was there a fire hydrant close by? So that if it was an industrial area, then the fire service could have been better equipped to possibly deal with the fire. But this again lends to the fact that historically, anytime there's been a fire outbreak and we've done investigations, we have never shared the information with the public as to what causes the fire.
I understand the reports is at a cost.
No, you see, at a cost to who?
Whoever seeks to know.
No, you see,
I think it should be published by the fire service.
Look, again, I'll cite cite many examples. Go to most of the developed countries. The fire that engulfed a whole tower in the UK and burnt and people lost their lives. The bridge that collapsed in Italy. All of the, if you go online today, Fukushima nuclear disaster, all those things are online. So why should us here be treating it as if, again, it's a cost center, somebody must pay for it? We must publish it because the purpose of investigating accident is to prevent it from recurrence. And if you want to prevent recurrence, one of the first things you have to do is to share the causes of the outbreak of the fire or the accident, so that people will know that, oh, if we do this, it could lead to a fire. If we do this, it could lead to a fire. So for me, those excuses about somebody must come and pay for it or you must request for it before it is given to you, it's neither here nor there. And especially I get saddened when people make excuse that it is national security. I mean, we shroud everything in national security and walk away with it. I mean, it's needless. These are fires that continue to engulf people. The market fires are a ritual here in Ghana. Nobody shares any reports with anyone. And for me, that is disappointing.
Well, Alaji, your thoughts on this? Is our fire service even well equipped? Do they have the resources to combat the type of fires we're seeing?
So, Nana, good morning. Let me say that I cannot agree more with engineer. I think he has said it all. But permit me to say that if you look at fire outbreaks in this country, it is important that we have a holistic policy in dealing with these issues. And the issues are multifaceted. For example, he raised one big issue. Is it a case that we have poor planning, poor zoning? For me, it could be one. If you look at Tema Enclave, you realize that it was properly planned.
Yeah.
And in most cases, you hardly will hear this kind of things when it comes to the Tema Enclave. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but because of the proper planning. Now, if you look at residential areas, it is important that as a country we have a policy.
But you know that now, Tema, we've managed to destroy that thing.
Exactly so. But if you look at the history, you realize that
we are rezoning or repurposing, I don't know.
Exactly.
We've managed to destroy the beautiful part of Vancouver.
That takes me to my next point. Law enforcement is one of the things. We should not just sit down and allow some of these fire outbreaks to occur. Then we go in there, we set up committees, we pay them money and say, let them go and do investigation. For me, we should be looking at the preventive aspect of it. Nana, you just have to ask yourself questions. If somebody is putting up a building, there are various stages of permits that you need to acquire before you can have a building. Whether it is residential or commercial, whatever it is. It will interest you to note that if you go to the MMDs, the assemblies, people who are supposed to ensure that they go to site to inspect and give you the needed permit. In most cases, they say that you come with the greatest of respect, just give them a token, and then they issue you the permit. As to where you are going to site your building as permissible by law or not, for me, it's immaterial. What is good for them is that you've given them something and they are okay. I think these are issues that we need to look at. Then we must also look at our readiness as a nation. And that is a point that he indicated clearly. Now, sometimes you call the fire service. Then it takes you 3 hours. If you have fire outbreak in your house, may God forbid, then it takes the fire service 3 hours to appear in your house. You can imagine what would have happened to you. 3 hours, virtually your building would have been down. I think that we also need to look at our readiness as a nation in terms of fire service. And then even the electricity company, EC. I am of the firm opinion that when it comes to wiring of facilities, whether residential or commercial, I think that they also need to be firm on who is qualified to wire your house. You know, there are people who are licensed.
I think it comes under the purview of the Energy Commission.
Yes, and that who are licensed to be able to do that. Nana, is that what is happening in this country?
No.
People go on a roadside, then they see a small billboard. I'm a proper electrician. If you need service, this is my number. Then you call the person, he comes to wire your house. He doesn't have the requisite qualification, the requisite engineering skills to be able to even advise you. At the end of the day, he does a poor wiring. Then the effect will be that you end up experiencing some of these things. I think that we need a holistic policy. There's something I've been thinking when we come to issues of disaster in this country. I think that this issue of not making reports public, for me, is problematic. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have the report, what will guide you in the future, for me, is not there. Let's have the report. Let's read the report. If there are people that we need to punish for negligence, I think that we should begin to take drastic action. Otherwise, people can just get away with some of these issues. Then to conclude, the market fires, you know, in this country, as he said, it's like virtually seasonal. Or if you can put it for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Now, can it be coincidence?
Can it not be?
I don't know. I'm just posing a question. Can it just be the case that every year you have some specific markets?
And it's almost always around a specific time.
That is why I'm posing the question.
Or throughout Christmas into New Year.
Precisely the case. That is why I'm posing the question. Can it just be coincident that okay, it's like a celebration. It's Christmas or Eid al-Adha. There's a designated date that we just have to be aware that this period, this your market will burn. It cannot be the case. I think it is important for policymakers, government, and all of us as citizens to have our eyes on the ball and see that these are issues that we should not be joking. And you know the effect of these fires.
True.
Look, people usually will even die. You remember the Accra-Kumasi fire?
Yeah.
I saw so many people collapsing because if you are going in for a loan and you've built your business over a period of 15, 20 years, that is where you pay your children's school, that is where you feed, that is where you yourself, you survive. And there are other dependents. Then all of a sudden, within a twinkle of an eye, you lose all of this.
You don't even have insurance.
You know our awareness in terms of insurance in this country is problematic. So that is the challenge. Even houses, respectfully, there are even people who are very highly educated. Their houses are not insured. Not to talk of our mothers who are doing their small businesses in the market. I think that we have to look at it just to conclude two things. One, planning. Two, law enforcement and regulation. And then the last one is making our reports public so that we can punish people to serve as deterrents in the future.
Very well. I'll hang it on you. The Accra-Kumasi highway and the government's proposal for an expressway. The institution is not so happy. It says it's ill-advised. The plan is ill-advised.
Yes. So the president of the Ghana Institution of Engineering clearly at the program, was it this week or last week, indicated that the government needs to be cautious about the implementation of that program. And it is not out of nothing. One is that for you to say you are going to build a multi-lane road from here to Accra to Kumasi, there are certain basic things that must inform it. And one of them, key, is traffic count.
Right.
How much traffic is there on that road? How many vehicles? So if you say you want to build an expressway, which means it's going to be tolled.
Right.
How many people are going to use that expressway? Because you already have the 2-lane, which is supposed to be completed to go in. And then you say a separate expressway. It means it's going to be tolled. How much are we going to charge to be able to get a return on that investment? How many people will be ready to pay that rate? So it requires quite a lot of thinking through.
Yeah.
You get it. So it's not something you rush, because when the government came out and said, oh, we'll build it and by 2029 or something, or 2028, it will be done. Where is the data on traffic flow? Are we going to create a whole new road through forest areas? Where is the impact assessment of that? How is it going to affect the wildlife, water, everything else? How is it going to affect it? Now, what terrain studies have we done? Where there are gullies, there are hills. So how many bridges are going to be built? What is the soil tests that have been done? Because look, coincidentally, I have seen 2 projects. I've worked on 2 projects, not road projects, that have collapsed because of poor technical surveys and things that have not been done properly. The companies collapsed after the project. Yes, simple. Because if you go, you say somebody should do tunneling for you, huge tunneling, where the person has a purpose-built tunneling machine for you, and your rock studies show a certain hardness, and the person comes and starts drilling, the rock hardness are not the same. They are harder than what the person anticipated. The bits and everything, you are in trouble. So if we are going to build that kind of road, what is the cost estimate? What is the design? We need to think through all this and say, where is the funding for going to come from? Because now we don't even know the cost. We don't know anything. Then we say, oh, big push. How much is in big push? So we need to think through all this properly. And that is where the president said, look, we need to think through this thing properly before we start. One, because we have a lot of uncompleted projects running through this country. Is that the best use of money? Should we start a project and then it stops and then hangs forever? We have a lot of buildings or hospitals that we have built in this country that are still not being used because we have not equipped it. We have not resourced it. All manner of things. Is that the best use of money? We have factories. The Commander Sugar Factory, that is government itself built. It's still there. We haven't completed it. So for us as a country, we should be asking, what are the opportunity costs? Why do we need to do this road? What is the urgency behind it? Is it just one of, let's procure something? We need to think through it carefully so that, again, we don't repeat the mistakes that we have continued to do over the years. And that's why we have a lot of uncompleted. The previous government started road projects. They are not completed. Why don't we just say, okay, let's make sure all these things are completed? Some people will argue, oh, but we can do another project at the same time. I said, no problem. But have we thought through it? Have we thought through it? Because we should bring the data. For me, one of the key recommendations I want to make on this issue is that professional bodies, such as planners, architects, surveyors, engineers, and people generally involved in the built environment must be consulted for peer review when it comes to projects such as this.
Right.
So we need to possibly agree with government and set some threshold and say if the amount going to be involved crosses this amount, it must be subjected to a peer review by some of these professional bodies, who will then say, what is this? Is this right? Is the design proper? Has this been done? Has this been done? So that we as a nation don't go into such projects and then it gets truncated and nothing happens, and then for another 50, 20 years. Because if you go through the succession of governments since independence, you will find uncompleted projects since 1957. What have we done? And all those are things that we have sunk money into and we haven't got any returns on them. So for us as ordinary citizens and professionals, we should be concerned about some of these things. So that is where the Ghana Institution of Engineering president comes from when he speaks on this matter. And I fully supports that.
Very well. Let's say good morning to Hamza Suini. He's a member of the National Democratic Congress, NDC's communications team. Hamza, good to see you.
Good morning, Nana. And of course, good morning to my colleagues in the studio. Today, I think that you started with the expertise area of my senior comrade. So he's waxing lyrical. And on my way here, I was enjoying his presentation, quite honestly. I think that
Indeed.
an interesting way to start that morning.
Yes, it is. Let me pick Alaji's thoughts on the Accra-Kumasi Expressway as proposed by the government before I come to you, Hamza, on same.
So, Nana, you have an engineer. These are experts. You've heard it from him.
Yeah.
But let me put it this way. I don't know who is advising my brother and his government to pursue the way they want to go. In principle, I am not against it if they are able to do it. But practically, it doesn't look like they will be able to do it.
You don't think it's possible?
I will give you a few reasons why it's not possible. I'm saying that in principle, if they were able to do it, we'll be happy.
Right.
Nobody will be against a government having this kind of road. Remember, if you look at Accra-Kumasi, the issue of accident, road accident, has been a major concern.
Yeah.
And year on, you realize that the number of people who perish on that road, for me, is worrisome. And so, if there's the need to have these 6 or 7 lanes from Accra to Kumasi, all of us will welcome it. But the point is that it is not feasible. If you look at even the government's budget, I'm sure they are talking about big push. How much is the total amount allocated for the big push for this year? Don't forget, the government has 4 years to run. We've run almost 7 months. Nobody has seen the design of that express route. Nobody has told anybody in this country the source of funding, because I am of the opinion that it cannot be part of the big push, because the big push cannot do that expressway. We haven't seen the design. We don't even know how much it costs. And so it is not just about saying it. It is about ensuring that you put in place the necessary mechanism to implement it. But then, as we speak right now, you remember President Kufuor started it. Started the dualization project.
Yes.
And from Suhum and Sawam up to Nkoko. President Akufo-Addo's government continued, and from Apadawa Junction. And if you look at the total cost of and we are trying to put up what we call 8 bypasses, a total cost of about 1.2 billion Ghana cedis. As we speak, President Akufo-Addo's government did almost 70%. We're just left with 30% to complete it. I'm sure the engineer will advise all of us. And the reason why we decided to put up as much as 8 bypasses was the fact that the engineers advised that if you look at that stretch, there are quite well-built communities, towns. So it will not be cost-effective to begin to pull down some of these buildings. So the best way is to ensure that we put up these bypasses. That is why we decided, our government, the NPP government led by Nana Addo, decided that let's do these 8 bypasses so that we can ease traffic and then also avoid the issue of paying so much compensation to buildings that we're going to pull down. Yeah. And we've done 70%. I think that what President Mohammed's government should do, that will save our major resources, and that for me will be very prudent in terms of financial management, is to continue and finish the 30% from the termination point and take it up to Tech Junction. I think from Ejishu up to Tech Junction, because President Akufo-Addo government has done that. And if that is done, I'm sure it doesn't take away the fact that in future you can still expand if that is what you want to do. But for a government to commit about 1.2 billion Ghana cedis and executed a project of 70%, you are left with 30%. Then you come in as a new government and instead of continuing from that one, so that first of all we can have that dual carriage right from Suhum up to Tech Junction. You are not doing that. You are saying that you want to have an expressway. An expressway where nobody knows the cost, nobody has seen the design. But the government does not say they will stop the existing project. No, the point I'm making is that where is the money? Why not complete this one? Just complete this one. You have 4 years. When you complete this one and you think that you have money to then do the new one, nobody is against it. In any case, it's well going on as far as the 8 bypasses are concerned. This is the point I'm making. I think that my brother Sohini and his government must appreciate the fact that when they were campaigning, they promised the people of this country that they were going to be very prudent in terms of managing our resources. And one way you can be very prudent is to ensure that things of this nature, you continue with it. Look at the Pokwasi road.
They've also assured that they will complete abandoned projects.
After the assurance is one thing. Doing it is another thing. Of course, if you look at this scenario, you agree with me that the government was ill-advised. Completely ill-advised, in my candid opinion, to pursue this agenda. You see, this big push that they have been talking about, big push, I am not against big push. As far as you can build our infrastructure, you can put the money into good use, there's no problem. But the challenge is that if you listen to the Minister of Roads, sometimes I ask myself, I don't know whether the big push is the total budget of Ghana. Because if you look at the number of projects, he's claiming that Big Push will do this from Tumu to Bolga, Big Push will construct from Bolit. I mean, he's just mentioning, go to the Eastern Corridor. You think it's overly ambitious? You don't need anybody to tell you that you are overly ambitious. For me, it's good to achieve something, rather than just shouting and saying Big Push. And when you even look at the budget allocation for Big Push for even the year, it doesn't match what the minister himself says. Not to talk of this express way. So I will advise respectfully that as a country, we should be able to manage our resources prudently. And one of the ways we can manage our resources prudently is to ensure that some of these projects that are of national in character, that benefits everybody regardless of your political color, that for me, any government that is able to do it, the people will be very much pleased. And so, if we have done about 70%, I expect Mr. Suhine Nko complete the 30% and move on with your expressway if indeed it's practically feasible. I will want to hear from him. Tell us the practical implementation of this expressway, that this is the source of funding, this is the design, this is the period we want to start, and this is how we want it to go. For me, that would allay my fears. Until then, I think that it is just a storm in a teacup, nothing.
Very well. Hamza, are the technical people at the drawing board, are they putting plans together to hit the grounds running regarding the Accra-Kumasi Expressway?
Good morning once again, and of course to your production team. I think that I have listened to the insightful submissions made by Senior Comrade Kosidede, largely because, of course, that is his area of expertise. And so I can appreciate the passion. You're an engineer, of course. That's why I'm saying that. Engineering, at least, it has some connection with the road sector. And I appreciate the nationalistic viewpoints expressed by him, contrary to the partisan narratives that my brother obviously decided to throw out this morning. I can understand the distinction in terms of their submissions. But you see, for me, I listened to the president of the Engineers Association of Ghana and the concerns that he raised. And if I listened to him very well, he said that we would need about 5 years to have evaluated that particular road network and be able to put it on the radar in terms of any plans to develop same. And this, when I listened to that, I was laughing. Maybe he has not had an interface with the Ministry of Roads and Highways. I have had the opportunity of working there, and I know how works are done. Many of the road networks in this country, we already have the engineering reports.
Okay.
After years of study and assessment at the Ministry of Roads and Highways. The difficulty has always been the financing ability and the willingness of central government and political considerations, especially when making a commitment to funding these routes. So it is neither here nor there to assume that because His Excellency the President has announced that this is the intention of the government, that study was not done. It is inaccurate to peddle such falsehoods. Again, it is not politicians who man the engineering of many of these infrastructure developments we see. They are experts, civil servants.
Yeah.
The onus is on the politician to find the financial muscle to be able to see the project through. So it is not as if President Mahama sat down and designed a model and sought to impress that on the expertise, on the experts on the field. Absolutely not. And if you have had that romance with the Ministry of Roads and Highways, you would see that every year, many of the agencies in presenting their budgets, they tell you why it is important for us to focus on this road. And they will convince their various boards to adopt this critical road network based on which government would be minded to find the needed resources to champion. That is how it works. So don't think that this is just a brainchild of His Excellency President Mahama. It probably would have been on the decks of the Ministry of Roads and Highways civil servants for years. And on a yearly basis, they engage in lobbying political appointees to get the project started. Maybe they have gotten in touch with His Excellency President Mahama, and he has seen sense in this particular project and decided to partner them or to support them to implement it. That is how it works in the roads industry. So if the engineers are at the Ministry of Roads and Highways, mind you, they don't recruit just anybody. And many of the workers at Ministry of Roads and Highways are members of the Engineers Association of Ghana. They are fully paid up members. And it is based on their expert advice that government functions, especially when it comes to the road sector. So if they have done their work and they have made recommendations to the executive and the executive deems it appropriate to push through such recommendations, what is wrong with that? How is it an initiative being rushed through by His Excellency the President and the NDC government? How? So when I listened to him, I felt that it was an indictment on his own members who work at the Ministry of Roads and Highways. Do you have another look? When they said that they were doing the Tamale dualization, the Tamale, what was it called, the highway, the interchange or whatever, that joke of an interchange they placed in Tamale. Before we left office, that was not the original plan. That was not what the engineers at the Ministry of Roads and Highways planned. And when many of them started speaking out, they were given tribal branding. And so they decided to keep quiet. But But the original plan is there. So until I'm told that what President Mahama is saying is contrary to the original plan, I think that the only reasonable thing for us to do is to try to understand the decision of the experts in trying to more or less modernize the initial dualization plan into an expressway.
Will it be part of the existing dualization
and
plan?
So these are the
or
questions.
It will be distinct.
It will be
separate.
Expressway.
So these are questions we should be asking. How they intend to roll that out.
Exactly.
And how it fits within the entire engineering model.
And then, of course, on the other hand is the funding.
And of course, on the other hand is the funding. Whether indeed we will be able to get the needed funding to see it through. But the fact that the dualization is ongoing does not prevent government, depending on the developmental plan that they have, from starting the expressway as well. It is possible. It is feasible. And what is my brother talking about? Does he remember between 2006, 2007, and 2008? The number of high-profile road projects that were started by the NPP regime under His Excellency President John Agyekum Kufuor. Remember the Gang of Six that President Mills and President John Dramani Mahama inherited? Were there funding available for these Gang of Six roads? Were there not high-value projects that were started by His Excellency President John Agyekum Kufuor? You remember the Malam, what's the name? The Medina. Road. Didn't the NDC government see to the completion of these projects? At the time President Kufuor was launching it, indeed he started one of them with about 3.4 million Ghana cedis, when the estimated cost was in excess of about 48 million Ghana cedis at the time. But before we left office, these projects were completed. So it has to do with commitment on the part of the government. If indeed government is committed to getting revenue, to get these projects going, trust me that the government will be able to get the needed revenue. The problem with this country has always been our recklessness and appetite for corruption. It is not as if we may not be able to raise the needed revenue to complete vital projects. The same President John Dramani Mahama found available revenue in the midst of our economic difficulties to complete the circle interchange. At the time, the shot was cut for the same project. My NPP brothers were the doomsday mongers. They said that, look, there was no way we were going to complete the project. It was completed under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. So we are talking about a man who has that track record. And not long ago, I made references to the investments in the energy sector. Many of the projects he started in the energy sector, they said that they were ambitious and that we would not be able to complete same. And so he needed to concentrate on a few when he was confronted with doing so. But by the time he left office, in a matter of 3 years, or less than 2 years when he started rolling out the energy sector investment projects, he contributed in excess of 1,300 megawatts to our generation capacity, when he inherited somewhere 2,900. And when they came, they started singing about excess capacity because they were so short-sighted not to appreciate the fact that this country, on a yearly basis, our demand for electricity increases. And so there was the need for any president with that foresight to plan ahead of time. Are you therefore surprised that they are unable to point to any meaningful investment in the energy sector in the last 8 years? And so when we are talking about infrastructure, they must know the man who is the president of the Republic of Ghana today and his infrastructural drive and commitment and discipline when it comes to finishing these projects. It is not for nothing that he was being referred to as the infrastructure king. You still know the number of hospitals that he engineered that were built under his first term as president of the Republic of Ghana. The Rich Hospital refurbishment and remodeling is an example. The Bank of Ghana Hospital, the UGMC, University of Ghana Medical School, Medical Hospital. A number of them, Smith Trust hospitals. So that track record is there. At a point under his tenure as president, the entire country was turned to a construction site. Road network was being constructed. You go to Ebole area, Damango road network, with markets accompanying the link. Done under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. Because this is a man who appreciates the economic relevance of road infrastructure.
Right.
And so if he says that, look, there's the need for us to support the Ministry of Roads and Highways to get this expressway through, it will be legitimate for you to be asking about issues of funding. And I would associate with you when you make these demands. But it does not mean that because a dualization is already ongoing, we cannot also consider the possibility of an expressway. Maybe in the opinion of the experts, they want to go through the entire process at the same time. For all you know, if they want to focus on the dualization and finish, and now proceed to start the expressway, you do not know the engineering implications it will have on the dualization project. But as they are rolling out the two, then they begin to make amends where they need to make those amends. So let us listen to the experts. And let us understand that when it comes to many of these projects, indeed, sometimes it takes a commitment. When President Mahama is starting road projects, it doesn't mean that he'll finish it in his term as president. That's why government is continuum. And I have demonstrated how we found the resources to complete infrastructure that was started by His Excellency President John Ajay Kufuor. That is the essence of governance.
Very well. Basically, we'll come down to funding.
Yeah, so let me just make a few points there. You remember recently when President Mahama went on to the Farmcore project, he said he didn't understand how come the project was costed for 200 million and funding was done, the money is finished, but the road is not complete.
Yeah.
Now, again, it is our own colleagues within the ministries of roads and highways who are looking at this project. So the question is, how come the money is finished and the project is not completed? So that is why I'm suggesting that, look, in as much as our colleagues in the public service may be making some recommend or pushing certain things, the best thing would be now to subject those things, if we agree on a threshold, to subject it to peer review. You see, because when you are talking about big projects, because again, the history is that over the years, what has happened to most of our road projects, they've never ended on time, the costs have always escalated. So the question we should be asking is, why are costs escalating? Is it that the proper due diligence was not done? And this is where the president is coming from. So yes, there may be reports there, but how authentic are those things? On what are they based? Because look, I'm telling you, I've seen companies collapse simply because they have not done geotech analysis properly. So let's be careful and say, look, what has been the history? We say we are built infrastructure. Infrastructure must deliver a certain service. So let's not just say we are building infrastructure. You can build infrastructure, it's not delivering service, and therefore the value for money is not there. Look at the whole airport that's been put up there. What's the value for money? Yeah, you can say you have built an airport, but what are we getting from it? You understand? So let's not just look at the issue of we are building an infrastructure, but what service do we hope to get from it? And is it going to come? So that is where the president is saying, let's be cautious about this investment we want to make. Let's begin with transparency. Where is the data? Let's subject it to peer review. Let's call the planners in this country. Let's call the surveyors. Let's call engineers. Let's call architects. Let everybody look at it and say, hey, one, in terms of spatial planning, where is this taking us? What is the investment? They will look at it. Then the surveyors will look at it. What are the bridges? What is the terrain that we are going to build in? The engineers will come in and say, what kind of structures do we need to be able to build in this terrain? So until we do that properly, I say that let's be careful. Because the history that we have shown is that, yes, there are engineers in the various ministries and sectors, but so far, the history has not shown that we have been able to deliver on time. And for me, what a professional association should do is to protect the practice of engineering in this country. In my association, the purpose of the institution is to protect engineering practice in this country. And if we see that there's anything wrong, we should advise. Because if the practice is not protected, it means that anyone who walks into this country today will say the engineers in Ghana are not good. And that should be the supreme interest of any professional association, to protect the practice. So I walk around myself and sometimes I say, this is not good enough. And that for me should be what we should be doing. So that is why I'm very happy with the president's call out. So I would want us as professional bodies to convince government that let us agree on a certain threshold. Although you have professionals working in the various institutions, let us all, in the national interest, subject those plans to peer review. Then we as a country can agree that, look, it is in the best interest of the country, and therefore it should go ahead. Because I will make an indictment if I travel outside this country and I see bad engineering works. I'll make an indictment on the engineers in that country. In the same way, I also think that when other engineers come from other countries and come into Ghana, they will make indictments on Ghanaian engineers and practitioners here. So it is in the national interest, one, for us as engineering practitioners, and also for the nation as taxpayers, that we do not continue to build debt. Because if Ghana was a company, Ghana is bankrupt. Let's agree. So borrowing money to build infrastructure without getting service from that infrastructure is useless. We have built a railway now from Aktema to Impakadan.
Yeah.
What service is it delivering at the moment? So NPP can say that, look, we have built infrastructure, but what service are we getting from that infrastructure? So these are the things that we as a nation must begin to sit down and say, hey, let's take our time, let's look at these things carefully. Because if we don't get the service, then the money we have put in there is gone waste. And that is the caution that the president of the Ghana Institute of Engineering has put forward. And I think that we should look at it, we shouldn't look at it as a partisan thing. We should sit down as a nation and say, does this help us? Will a peer review help us in this cause? Because we are building a nation. We are not just competing in terms of who is putting up infrastructure. We put up hospitals, we put up all these things. What are we getting from those structures lying in the bush? You understand?
Yeah.
Putting up a hospital that does not deliver health service until the hospital is running, manned by people, we are not getting service from it.
True.
So for any political party to simply say that we have built this, we have built that, doesn't solve our problem. The travel time from here to Takoradi has increased. Why? The travel time from here to Aflao has increased, from here to Ho has increased. Why has travel time increased on all these routes? Because again, sometimes we put in this infrastructure because of poor planning. And that's why I'm saying the planners need to be involved, city planning. We have allowed towns and villages to encroach on highways. Look at what we did. We went to put an onion market right next to an international highway, the N1 going to Takoradi. What does that impact? How does that impact the road? So we need to sit down and say, hey, let's look at these things carefully from a national interest point. And let's not throw it around as partisan politics, as competition between MPP and NDC. We need to sit down dispassionately and look at this issue.
Alaji, if the government is able to complete this express highway, then it can toll it, and then, of course, by tolling, it pays for itself, right?
Nana, I said that for me, as a matter of principle, I'm not against it. But you see, when I listen to my brother Hamza, there's something that strikes me. It appears he's speaking like somebody who is still in opposition, campaigning to form a government.
Why so?
And I will demonstrate why. First of all, my brother was very eloquent in condemning the president of the Engineers Association, sort of impugn his integrity. And yet, he made a point that as for the engineers at the road ministry, they are experts. I just cannot understand why he thinks that the president of the Engineers Association does not have the expertise to advise. But as for those ones who are at the ministry, for them, they are the experts, and whatever they say is sacrosanct and must be taken. I think that for me is disingenuous. But the most significant point I want to make is a point that if you look at this expressway that they are talking about, I have made a point that the best way to ensure cost effectiveness is to finish the 30% that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government started. Once, I'm not saying that you have not completed certain projects that the MPP had left. Because even when we took over in government in 2017, there are so many projects that you also started, and we completed them. For me, you are a lawyer, you know the directive principle of state policy. We all know the continuity in all of that. Well, there are some projects that the MPP left, you completed. There are some projects you left, we completed. But as we speak today, I'm saying that he's speaking like somebody campaigning because, number one, I wanted Mr. Hamza to tell all of us and the people of Ghana that this expressway will cost us $2 billion, $3 billion. He didn't. I wanted him to tell us that we in government, President Mohammed's government, this is the source of funding. We are going for a loan. What kind of loan? And how many years are we going to use to pay the loan to be able to do this expressway? I wanted him to say that in my phone, this is the design for the expressway. Somebody in government cannot be speaking that way. You are in government. And if you listen to him, conjecture, maybe the engineers at the ministry advise the president. It's the same engineers who advised His Excellency President Mahama when he made that statement about the Pokwasi road. He said, oh, the project cost $200 million and the money is finished and you can't find the money. When in actual fact, that was not the case. Who were those engineers who advised him? Mr. Asansu Boachi, the former Minister for Roads, came out with a statement, and he was very categorical that the president was being misled. That if you look at the funding component, it's supposed to cost $230 million. $200 million was supposed to be for loan, and government of Ghana will fund the $130 million. And yet, the president said the project cost $200 million. That is the engineer that Mr. Hamza is touting.
But was the funding secured under Asansu Boachi? And did he complete the work with the funding?
No, you are not getting the principle. The question His Excellency posed was the fact that the money has finished and is supposed to be $200 million.
Yes.
In actual fact, the president didn't get his briefing well. That is why Mr. Asansu Boachi said there are two components. The total cost is $360 million. $200 million was supposed to be a loan. Then the $160 million will come from government of Ghana.
Yeah.
So if the expert that Mr. Hamza is touting, the engineers and all of those people were there, who then gave the president that briefing? That
the entire project was $200 million.
Exactly the point. I am saying that you alluded to the fact that when we are talking about experts, we should credit them and give them that respect. But you see, you cannot choose and pick. The same way, that's why I'm saying he's speaking like somebody who is in opposition. I think that should have been me, somebody like Bashiru making those comments. You see, the Tamale bypass, he made a categorical statement that, oh, that was not the original plan. And when people wanted to condemn it, the MPU people insulted them as tribalists. Where is the original plan? Where is it? That's what I'm saying, that he's speaking like somebody who is in opposition campaigning. So that if you were in opposition like me, then I said, oh, that's not what we want to do. When we come, we'll do something different. You are in government. Just show us. In the absence of that one, you are just engaged in conjecture. And he's talking about the whole country was awash with infrastructure under President Mahama. I think that he should spare us that rhetoric. Look, if I am an NDC person today, when it comes to issues of interchanges, I'll be the last person to talk about it. You know why? When they built the circle interchange, popularly known as Dubai, they made it look like it's the first ever interchange this world has seen. That is why they nicknamed it Dubai. Nanatofo, your team has a very good research unit. The engineer made a categorical statement. Did you check the cost? Compare that one to the Pokwasi interchange. Just do the comparison. You will come to one conclusion, that in as much as I agree that the circle interchange was necessary and I commend them for building it, I am saying that they should go and check the cost as compared to that of the Pokwasi interchange. In any case, when it comes to interchanges, Greater Accra alone, how many did we build? The New Patriotic Party under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, how many? Go to Ningwa, go to...
Is Ningwa complete?
No, it's not complete. Go to just take the Spenters Road. Have you passed the Spenters Road?
Flower pot.
The flower pot, have you seen it? How many of them did they build? How many? You are in government. So when you are speaking to the people of this country, let the people of this country appreciate the fact that the verdict that you got, you didn't get it because people just wanted you to come into government. Maybe for one reason or the other, Ghanaians felt that they didn't appreciate the good things that we were doing. You have been given the opportunity. Rule this country with some level of integrity, some level of finance. Let the people appreciate the fact that you actually cherish the mandate that has been given to you. In the absence of that, you are not serving this country good. Look, he mentioned Swala Fofosi Road. The most disgraceful thing I have seen in my life, as far as road construction is concerned, is that particular road.
Why?
If I were Mr. Hamza, I wouldn't have even gone there at all. That thing, he should have just avoided it because it's an embarrassment at the highest level.
What's the state of that road?
My brother, when that road was built, exactly 3 years, if you go there today, and this one, he will agree with me without any fear of contradiction. The manholes, it's not potholes, so they are manholes. In fact, you can swim inside the holes. He's talking about they build communities along the road. At the time they built the road, the first time
which road is he talking about?
I'm talking about the Solar from Fusi road that your government. Yeah, but you built it. And today it's an indictment on President Mahama, especially when it is coming from his own hometown. Look, Nana, the first time they built that road, when I traveled on the road from that place to Wa, I said President Mahama has done very well. We should credit him. That was what some of us said. Little did I know that
it was shoddy work.
Shoddy work for me is not the best word to use. If there's any word harsher than shoddy, I think I would say it was a disgrace of a work. That today, that road, they need to re-award that road. And let Mr. Hamza tell me that what I'm saying.
Why didn't you do it?
Oh, Nana, you are asking the question, why didn't we do it? We also did a number of roads. Right. The point I am making is the fact that the award, it was under President Mahama, they constructed that road. Nana, are you saying that we should construct that beautiful road with that huge sum in less than 4 or 5 years? Manholes?
You could have at least held somebody accountable for the work.
No, I'm coming. There are two things here. If you ask the question, why didn't we do it? For me, if our government had taken the initiative to redo the road, I would have appreciated it because it's a road that I apply. And for me, I want that road fixed.
Right.
You are talking about holding people accountable. I don't have a problem if people decide that let's hold them accountable. But the fundamental point I'm making is that he constantly mentioned that road. And I'm saying that that road is a disgrace, especially to the president. And if President Mahama is listening to us, me sitting here as his younger brother, I think that he should do the people of Upper West, the people of Savannah region, and if you like, Upper East, because all of us, that is where we
travel that route.
Exactly, he should do us a favor by making sure that they reconstruct that road. Otherwise, I see it to be a very big disgrace. And you see, he went on certain tangent, and when President Mahama brought a lot of improvement in the energy sector, your government didn't. That is why I'm saying that you are in government. You are in government. You gave this country doom so 3 years consecutively. Businesses collapsed. This economy was in its knees under the watch of President Mahama. We all saw it. There is absolutely no doubt that the worst that we witnessed was between the period of 2014 to 2016 and even early 2017. And when we took over, we fixed it. And then Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for 8 years. Nana, you and I were not living in Israel or Palestine. We were in this country. Engineer was here. He lived in this country. We didn't witness doomso. That is prudent management of an economy. That is resilience.
Isn't it based on what you inherited? The generation capacity that you inherited.
Okay.
Allow him to flow.
Let me ask. You are saying that based on what we inherited. Nana, granted. We handed over to Mr. Hamza. You know what they've done to us?
What have they done to us?
Quickly, they are asking us to pay 4 cedi for a gallon of fuel where we are buying, for them to be able to buy fuel. When Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was in government, did we ask you to pay 4 Ghana cedis? Did we?
No, you did not.
So the people who gave us doomso and left this country collapse. Now you are saying that, assuming they are the ones who fixed the energy sector. I'm saying they're granted.
Right.
They are back.
Right.
And let me conclude. They are back.
Right.
What are you witnessing?
For me.
No,
right.
They are back. What are you witnessing? Already, we've seen about 17% increment in electricity bills.
Tariffs.
They've given us 4 Ghana cedis. And you see, they keep on saying, oh, only 1 Ghana cedis. How many of us go to the pump and buy a liter of fuel? How many? Mr. Hamza, when you go to the fuel, he doesn't buy 1 liter. The minimum you will buy will be a gallon. So we are paying 4 cedis. And they told us that 1 cedi levy that they have imposed on Ghanaians is for them to be able to buy fuel. Well, I think that my good brother and friend here, they should move away from the campaigns that they did and then position themselves in a manner that Ghanaians will see that they are in government and that they are tackling the issues head on and stop the lamentation. Wow. And then make a reference to, and your government didn't do that. Why? In 2024, why did Ghanaians decide that the MPP should go? It was because they probably felt that they needed a new government to see new things. So that if that government comes, and let me make the last aspect, and then what you can do is to keep on referring to what you couldn't do. For me, it's disingenuous.
We should move away from the
We should just move away from that one and fix the issues.
Thank you, Alhaji. Just some information on the Ofankor and Sawam Road. The project is over $347 million US. A loan was taken in July 2022. $200 million was to be dedicated to that project. The government of Ghana was to raise the rest from internally generated taxes. Exactly. So I think the president is wrong by saying the money can't be found. Exactly. Since the contractor was paid several certificates, as and when they raised certificates, including advised mobilization.
Is that not the point I made?
Very well.
That he was ill-advised.
Very well.
But the expert that Mr. Hamza
I'll come to Hamza to wrap up on the Expressway conversation, but I need to take a quick break here. So Hamza, please hold your thoughts for me. I'll come back to you on this one. This is Breakfast Daily. You're watching the news review segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back. This is the news review segment of Breakfast Daily here on ChannelOne Television. We're having a conversation regarding the proposed construction of an Accra-Kumasi Expressway. And some of your messages have come in. This one says, hi, good morning. My name is Kadre from Bolga. We, the people of Upper East Region, are happy to see our brother Alhaji Bashiru on set. Keep it up, brother. This one says, indeed, our engineers in this country are not performing to expectation. They owe Ghanaians a lot. Master Planner Junior from Kintampo says the NDC still communicates like they're still in opposition. Ghanaians voted for you to reset the country as you promised, but it looks like the reset has changed to totally formatting. Ghanaians are watching my brother Hamza and his NDC very closely. Give time some time, you say. This one says, all gains that the NDC said it has achieved after a few months in office were all artificial. The NPP seem to have been vindicated. Abochi is now selling dollar at 13.25 cedis. Why? NDC red card is waiting. Swallow from Nima sent that one in. You can also send in your thoughts and your comments via the WhatsApp line. But let me go to Hamza Suhini for his concluding comments regarding the Accra-Kumasi Expressway.
I think, Nana, I listened to Engineer Kosiditu quite clearly, and his concerns are quite intriguing. First of all, he's indirectly questioning the competence and sincerity of his colleagues, or of their colleagues at the Ministry of Roads and Highways. And like I indicated, you do not get to be employed at the Ministry of Roads and Highways unless, of course, you can demonstrate, especially when it comes to their engineering requirements, that you are qualified for that role. And many of these people are members of the Engineering Society of Ghana. And so they are colleagues. And like I indicated, even if we are to phase out a chunk of them and bring in those, including the president of the association, to the Ministry of Roads and Highways, I'm sure that Engineer Kosede will still sit in this table and question the kind of work they do at that ministry. So we need to understand that these are experts. We are allowed to question, especially if we are clothed with the technical expertise. We are allowed to question their work. Nobody is preventing us from questioning same. And if that is said, and as president of the Engineering Association of Ghana, I'm sure that the president can reach out to many of his colleagues in there and have meaningful discussions.
They call it the Institution of Engineering.
Institute of Engineering, okay.
Yeah.
Can have meaningful discussions with them, and probably would have had a better appreciation of the event or what is happening. What happened, I considered an unfortunate slur on the qualifications and expertise of his colleagues in there. And if I make statements to that effect, it is not an attack on the concerns being expressed by the president of the Engineers Association. Absolutely not. It is not an attack. His concerns might be grounded. Yeah. Because I'm not an expert, especially when it comes to that fault. But we must also not lose sight of the fact that those people, they are not politicians, so they are experts, like him. And they are colleagues, and they are part of his professional association. So I see it more as a slur on his colleagues than even on a government. Because as for this opinion, I think that government undoubtedly will pay attention to the concerns that he's raised. But I only proceeded to explain to you that listening to him and with my experience at the Ministry of Roads and Highways, this is not the first time this issue is coming up.
Right.
And that point needs to be made. My brother also made references to the issue of peer review. I agree with him. But you see where my difficulty is. Again, if government is to institute that mechanism of peer review, it would come with an additional cost.
Okay.
Where government, apart from the fact that we're already paying engineers at the Ministry of Roads and Highways, who are supposed to be experts, let us give that project to outsiders in the name of peer review and allocate cost component to it. Engineer Kosedede would again sit on this platform and question our prudence as a republic, because I know him. He would ask us what the engineers at the Ministry of Roads and Highways are doing, and that government has to pay an additional money
for peer review.
For peer review, that we are creating a vehicle to enrich others. He would say that. And so that is why I'm saying,
even if there's value for money in that.
But he wouldn't even go there. I know my brother. And see, that is why I'm saying that when it comes to many of these issues, but you know his tangent on this platform. And so that is why I'm saying that, look, sometimes it is not those who are mandated to lead us who are the problem. The so-called social commentators, those of us who think that we know better, actually we are the problem, because we keep shifting the goalpost. And if indeed he wants the Engineers Association to do that peer review mechanism, look, they are part and parcel of the democratic space of this country. The president of the association is clothed with legal authority through the Right to Information Bill to write to the Ministry of Roads and Highways to demand the engineering designs and feasibility studies of the so-called express highway. And based on which they can do a free input and make their submissions known to the government through the Ministry of Roads and Highways, or even if they like, they can do a public exhibition of what they think. It is within their right to do so, within the democratic space. It is not just to organize or to, because you have microphones before you, let us see that constructive engagement. And so I understand your frustrations, my brother, and I associate a bit with some of them, but the reality is that let us be consistent. And I know you, and I know your position. I'm not defending the engineers at the Ministry of Roads and Highways, but I'm just exposing sometimes how even in our inconsistent views, how our inconsistent views could be the actual problem when it comes to our national developmental efforts. And we must be very mindful.
Very well.
Now, to my brother from the political party that appears to be losing its bearing on a daily basis. This platform is an intellectual one. It is a respectable platform. And so whatever we say must be backed by evidence and some semblance of intellectualism. And I'm going to start with his assertions on the Fufusu-Sola Road. A government constructs a road. There's a retention component of that road. Lease power in 2016. The Ghanaian people give you their mandate. Your responsibility as government is to ensure that if there are problems with that particular road, the retention elements and any associated costs, you hold the contractors to account. That's one. Secondly, the responsibility of routine and periodic maintenance of that road falls squarely on the government. And you have been in power for 8 good years. 8 good years. A road that was constructed under a previous regime, you are unable to periodically and routinely maintain these roads. And you have the temerity and the confidence to sit on this platform and question why there are manholes on the project. What were you doing in the last 8 years? You think 8 years is 8 hours or 8 days? Even your own house, if you build your house and fail to maintain it for 3 years, you think that the house will stand? Instead of you to have used the limited resources of this country in the last 8 years to focus on these critical roads, in maintaining them, what did you do? You were engaged in the business of unethically digging holes
in excess of $70 million US under the guise of building a national cathedral. When we cautioned you, what did you tell us? And you have the effrontery and the temerity to sit on this platform and seek to insult the Ghanaian people with your 8 years of recklessness and incompetence that has led to the destruction of almost every facet of our national life, from the economy to critical road infrastructure in this country, and to even state-owned enterprises that were running at loss because of your negligence and recklessness. How are we celebrating incompetence this way in this country, especially the NPP? Or you thought that when they handed over to power, when we handed over power to you in 2016, your job was simply to abandon projects that were initiated by the NDC government? Nana, you see, well, I can understand the state the NPP finds itself, because they are still living in an alternate universe. And they are deceiving themselves that they are the best thing that happened to this country, even though the Ghanaian people in the last election demonstrated that they are the worst. Today he talks about the economy and made references to the economy President Mahama left in 2016. Go and look at the figures and compare even the debt portfolio of the economies we left you in 2016 and the one we inherited, in excess of 724 billion debt you left for us. When we left you about 124 billion Ghana cedis. Look at the inflationary rates. You left us. Indeed, for the first time, as a result of your incompetence and recklessness and appetite for corruption, where even borrowing, you were celebrating borrowing, Ghana was locked out of the international capital markets. Our economy was rated junk status because of your monumental incompetence and appetite for corruption. Did we ever experience that in this country? This is your legacy in the last 8 years. That we couldn't even go out to borrow to come and do projects in this country. And the money you brought in, you were unable to justify how these resources were used. The pit is there. The most expensive pit in the whole of the universe. And when we bring this to your attention, we are doing politics. If Ghana was your personal property and a contractor had engaged in this recklessness, would you have allowed that to go scot-free and not talk about it? Now, when we said that, I should stop speaking as if I'm in opposition, and that I should have come here and presented designs. And that's why I said that this is an intellectual platform. Clearly, he didn't listen to His Excellency the President before appearing on the show. He was emphatic in Kumasi. He said that they are at the stage of feasibility and design. Was that not what he said? Has His Excellency President Mahama said that the project will be commenced this year?
No.
So why would you be demanding of me as a member of government or as a member of the party that is in government to give you the cost of the so-called express highway, of the express highway? Why? If you listen to him very well. So if you've not listened to them, and you have proceeded to throw invectives against me and say that I should be speaking as if you're in opposition, you'd have come with a design and blah, blah, blah. Did you listen to His Excellency the President?
He mentions that you might be engaging in conjecturing, and based on the conjecturing, you should have designs for.
You see, that is why I'm telling you that if he had listened to His Excellency the President, doesn't he know the meaning of feasibility? Doesn't he know the meaning of design stages? He doesn't know. So these are some of the things we have to be very careful about. We should not just run amok because we are given an opportunity to make our submissions when it comes to what's the name? What do you call it? Our political responsibility is communicating for our parties. Again, my brother said that, how can you start a project without source of funding?
This should be your last point.
No, that cannot be. You gave him respectable time. I'm behaving.
So we can deal with other matters.
So, funding. How can you start projects without source of funding? Unbelievable. Incredibly wicked. Where was he? When His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo launched Agenda 111, Does he know the state of Agenda 111? I'm not going to go far.
Right.
The Gang of Six I made references to under President Kufuor,
Yeah.
their presidency. Did they tell the good people of this country the source of funding for those projects? Didn't the NDC complete those projects? The Agenda 111, upon assumption of office, didn't you hear His Excellency President Mahama extended an invitation to the private sector to partner for us to be able to complete those projects? Where was he when his reckless regime took this country on that painful trajectory in the construction of Agenda 111? So you see that level of hypocrisy. We must be careful, and that is why the MPP is where they are. They still think that they have the confidence of the Ghanaian people to lead. You don't, because your record is not far from us. It feels like yesterday. We have been in power for barely 8 months. So we still need to remind the people of this country the kind of economy we inherited, the kind of legacy we are having to deal with, and how to get out of that woes that you subjected this country into. And so we must be sensitive. Like I told Engineer Kusididi in my initial submissions. Respectable views. And there are views I can associate with. Listening to him. Certain demands that he has made. Those that I disagree with, I have made it known to him that I disagree with. But I can assure them that, look, they must be careful the way they communicate. Especially considering the fact that they just lost power. Because whatever we are dealing with today is the effects of their failure.
Right.
And they must know that. My brother, you see, platforms of this nature, it is not the normal local political talk shows where you come and say whatever you want to say and go scot-free. And my responsibility as spokesperson of the National Democratic Congress, when it comes to the performance of this government, is to communicate what I know. And what I know is that His Excellency President Mahama indicated in Kumasi that they are the design, feasibility and design stages of the said project. And I made an initial statement that, look, for all you know, the document had been at the Ministry of Roads and Highways. Engineer, I think you remember this, for the last 5 or 6 years. And so even if you dust it out and bring it out, reasonably, because it has been lying down for 5 or 10 years, you would still need to go back to the drawing board and do your feasibility studies. So until His Excellency President Mahama announced that we have presented before Parliament this bill or this amount of money, you see, a loan that we need approval to start the Kumasi Expressway, let us leave it where he said it is. Feasibility and design stages. And it is important for us to do that.
Hamza.
And you see,
I'm coming to you, but I'm moving away from the expressway. We have just about 5 minutes to go. I need to pick your thoughts.
If he comes,
I need to pick your thoughts. We're adding at 55,
so
we have just about 5 minutes.
You
to
know
go.
that.
So briefly, a minute each on the utility tariffs.
We have how many minutes to go?
5 minutes.
So just a minute each on the utility tariffs. ECG is proposing or requesting some 224% increase. Ghana Water 281% increase.
So I have just 1 minute.
Briefly on this.
I don't know. I thought we have like 5 minutes. So that
forgive us, we dwelt too much on the expressway.
No, but you allowed Mr. Hamza to take the whole
equal time as I gave you.
No, it's not
even more. I was timing even more.
I timed him.
See, this is the 1 minute is running.
No problem.
No, he's seated in Miracle's chair, so that's why he's behaving that way.
It's rubbing off you.
He's trying to massage the time. You know what Miracles is?
Hamza, miracles will come for you.
No worry. No. I agree with Hamza when he said that this platform is a very respectable platform. And it is for that reason that when you are communicating for a government that is in power, you credit the people who are listening to you with some level of decorum and respect. So that the people will appreciate the fact that, well, these people that we gave them the verdict in 2024 are really prepared in the mean business. Because there's no time for me to rebut most of the things, I'll go straight to the issue of the utility. It's ridiculous. It's an insult to the conscience of Ghanaians. I listened to Mr. Bezra, who is the chairman of the Parliamentary Committee on Energy, your own party person. I'm sure you listen to him. He said they should not even appear, the utilities should not even come to the committee with even 1% increment. I was surprised yesterday when I listened to him. He was mad. This is a government. The campaign on 24-hour economy. You remember that slogan? 24-hour economy.
Yeah.
24-hour economy, what is it supposed to do? To provide jobs. And you know that for you to create job opportunities in this country, one of the driving forces will be utility tariffs. When you came into government, you already increased electricity by 17%. You increased water. You gave us 1%, the one I referred to 4 Ghana cedis that we need to pay for per gallon of fuel that we buy. Today, listen to the utility companies. They are saying that if they don't get this tariff, they will shut them down. Let me talk of water company first. The water company made an emphatic statement that if you want to resolve this issue, all you need to do is to get the Ministry of Finance to pay their capital expenditure.
Very well.
And they will be done.
Right.
It is very simple. You see, in Ghana, you either pay it as taxes or you pay it as tariff. In this case, for you to cushion the people of this country, why won't the Ministry of Finance pay the capital expenditure of Ghana Water Company so that the remaining amount, don't forget, Ghana Water Company, they are unable to raise a lot of revenue, unlike electricity company of Ghana.
But that's their own fault. That's their own doing.
No, but see, it's a public
If they are
good.
selling a product,
No, it's
they
a
should be
public
taking
good.
their money.
No, let's be honest. For Ghana Water Company, let's be fair to them. It's public good. And if you look at it, supplying water to residential areas and the rest, they will not be able to raise the needed capital to match the cost of production.
Unfortunately, I have to stop so I
Just
can hear from the others, please. I beg you.
I wanted to give you. Wait, I wanted to give you the tariff from.
Our time is fast running out. I beg you. Hamza, briefly on this. Briefly. Are we paying realistic tariffs?
This 24-hour economy that they deceive us.
We are not paying realistic. But again, they're very cautious. You see, the MPP, that is how they are. The very advice I gave him, he fails to pay heed to the advice. And you see, when they demonstrate that level of poor appreciation of national events, and you expose them, they say you are in government, and so we shouldn't speak to them that way. When we are engaging the good people of this country, there's a way we speak to them directly. But when we are engaging elements of the new patriotic party, we know how, of course, we know how to respond.
There's a different approach.
Because you deserve punishment. Actually, from the people,
please.
You see, I cautioned about the essence of intellectualism around this table. If he had been very meticulous, again, he would have appreciated that this is not the first time the utility companies are making proposals to PURC. Of course, indeed, in 2022, under them, the same PURC, the same ECG, made a proposal to the PURC for tariff adjustments to about 146%. Please.
How much did we give them?
Please.
Alaji, hold on.
Please. 246%. Was that not the case in 2022? Go back to the records.
2022.
How much did we give them?
And the government decided not to honor the 146. This one of the 200, and indeed in that report they indicated that if government fails to honor that increment, the next proposal would be astronomical. Today,
no, how much
the same. Oh, come on. The same.
But this has been approved. I mean, it's not like
same issue. That's what I'm telling you. There's the need for us to credit some intellectualism to this table. The same ECG has made yet another proposal in line with the same proposal they made in 2022 when you were in power. Does the proposal mean that government has sanctioned it?
No.
When they made the proposal to you 146 in 2022, did you approve it? And yet you proceed because of lack of knowledge.
Just assure us that you are
because of lack of knowledge.
Just assure us that
you have proceeded to conclude as though the 226 proposal is what Ghanaian people are likely to.
You are indicting on somebody. It's not a lack of knowledge.
To pay.
Tell us that.
No. When you were speaking, I was quiet. Please.
Let him land. Please land.
They have made a proposal. Many of us in government, including the chairman of the Energy Committee, he has made it clear that there's no way that we're going to approve it. And I can tell you with all certainty that just like what happened in the past, the proposal they brought and it was reviewed downwards, this government will review this 226 proposal downwards.
Very well.
And so you should not proceed to run commentary as though it is the position of government, especially knowing what you people subjected ECG
Thank
to.
you.
We are having
Thank you,
to deal
Hamza.
with in excess of 70
Thank you,
billion
Hamza. Let me hear from
because
Engineer
of your
briefly on this.
recklessness and corruption in the
Engineer,
last 8 years,
proposed
as far as
tariffs.
the ECG books are concerned. And so
Proposed
when we are
tariffs.
talking
Hamza,
about
then you fix
Hamza,
ECG,
please.
we need to
I'm not
understand.
here. Then you fix it. You are in
Please.
government.
And that is what we are fixing. No,
Gentlemen,
but
please, thank you. Thank you. Engineer, tariffs.
that is what we are fixing. That's why your lights are on.
Clearly, we have a
That's why you gave us
problem.
1%.
We have a problem because anytime we hear from the utility companies, their proposals are based on huge increments. And why is that? Because, and if you look at it, they talk about losses. For me, from an engineering point, there are issues of technical losses and commercial losses within these utility companies. How have they dealt with it? Because over the years, they make all this noise. But if you look since 2015, for instance, the losses, technical losses in ECG have increased from 22% to 32% as at now. So what are they doing about those losses?
With their
They
inefficiencies
need to deal with their
instead of burdening the
inefficiency instead
consumer.
of passing the cost on. So that is one I think. Then the other thing is that it is public knowledge that the political class uses these utility companies as business.
Right.
So they come in and everybody now becomes a meter supplier or something
Procurement.
to ECG. Procurement. Look at the issue of cables that came up. What has
Exactly.
gone? Silence.
The containers.
We have the containers. Nothing has come out of it. Now, there's a recent court verdict on Ashimo, the regional chairman of the Greater Accra, who supposedly was making suggestions to a Singaporean businessman that when he comes, you give him contract at ECG. This is what we have used the public utility companies for.
Well,
As a cash cow for
Engineer,
political purposes. And I think that
forgive
all
me for
these
this,
things
but
have to be dealt with
we've run
together.
out of time.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. This has been the News Review segment on Breakfast Daily. I am Nana Tufo Boate. Stay with us. The show continues after this.